Horror Hounds. Just popping in before the episode to let you know you may hear the sounds of our own It Slays ghost. Don't be scared, because it is just the memories of Mike imprinted on Gothika. Sadly, Mike mic'd himself and somehow lost all of his audio. So we edited around him and managed to still give you a great episode. In case you were wondering, he gave this film just an okay. So enjoy the episode, and Mike will be back next episode, maybe better than ever. Anyway, enjoy.
We're going to expand our weekly video segment to take you into the back shelves of your local video store. Back where it says horror videos, and where kids are devouring some awful films that we call the video nasties.
Are you freebasing? Inquiring minds want to know.
I have to break free from this culture of mechanical reproductions and the thick incrustations dying on the surface.
From the prime time, bitch!
Monmouth and Fletch.
The pain, I can assure you, will be exquisite. As for our deaths, come with me and be immortal.
We have such sights to show you.
Gotta return some videotapes.
Hello, Horror Hounds, and welcome to the It Slays podcast. I'm your humble host, Rowan.
I'm Colton.
Hey, it's Jill.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about Jill.
Fuck?
Can we keep that in?
Yeah, I mean, I won't edit it out.
Oh, we hate women. Okay.
Oof.
Yeah, we are back. Sorry, I interrupted Jill. You know what it was? What really threw me off was, I was like, well, how come I never get to say, like, some witty intro? So I was gonna, like, say something about my biscuit never being limp, but, then I was like, I feel every time I try to do an intro that isn't humble host, then it's just weird. So I was just really distraught over that.
Agree, mostly.
But, yeah, we are back with another one. Hopefully everyone's enjoying it. What is it, like summer now? It's summer. It's hot. We're all sweaty. This is the good times. We're happy we're not a video podcast. Some of us are sweaty from heat. Some of us are sweaty from burritos.
I'm sunburned, and I don't know if you could tell online, but I have literally like white aviator burn around my eyes. So it's great. Yeah, it's a good look.
You're looking a little pink.
I'm hoping that's just from you being outside dressed as a character from Top Gun Maverick and just the sunburning those aviators on.
Absolutely.
Way to be. But yeah, we know where we're going to start, guys. What have we been consuming? What have we been watching? What have we been listening to? What have we been reading? All that good stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I've been extra busy these past couple of weeks just because I had some family in town for a surprise kind of medical issue. Everyone's okay, but it was, dicey there for a couple of days. So really the only things I've checked out are Jurassic World Rebirth, which we did a Now Slang for. I'll briefly say that I think it's better than the last two, Fallen Kingdom and Dominion, because those movies are absolute fucking garbage. And I also checked out 28 Years Later for the second time in theaters just because my stepdad out here, he wanted to see it. And once again, we did an episode on that, but his thoughts were they absolutely ruined the franchise. Perfectly good franchise, and it is ruined. He was very upset.
Dang.
Whether or not I feel the same, you can listen to that episode. The only other thing I literally checked out was Superman. I went to see it last night. I know some of us have checked it out. I think Jill has. And I enjoyed it overall. I will say it's the sort of thing where it took a long time to kind of get its hooks into me. It was kind of awkward starting off. There's like a lot of text, and it kind of just throws you into the middle of things. I will say that I liked Crypto, the Superdog's inclusion in the movie. I thought the core three, kind of Lois Lane, Superman, and Lex Luthor were pretty good. But all around, it just kind of feels like a James Gunn movie. There's lots of like silly characters that come in. There's lots of like interdimensional kind of sci-fi goofy nonsense that's happening. It gets weirdly political with like modern times. Like there's whole large swaths of the movie that are like talking very thinly veiled about Israel and Palestine, which was not really what I was expecting in the Superman movie either. It definitely like grinds things to a halt, and it feels bad at times for sure. But all around, what I'd say is probably like in the second half of the movie, it kind of gets its act together, and I enjoyed a lot of what it was doing there. And by the end of it, I felt positive about the movie. I thought it was good in the end. It just took a long, long time to get there, is kind of it. And it leaves on a very good kind of emotional high note, I think. And I thought like Lois Lane and Superman had a lot of like good chemistry in the movie, and they actually gave her stuff to do, which in the other movies she's kind of just sitting around all the time as a damsel in distress or depressed. Lois Lane's very capable in this movie, and I think it's a great portrayal of the character for an oftentimes pretty boring superhero to follow, especially in movies. So yeah, I really haven't had any time to watch anything else. It's just Superman and those couple of other things. So Jill, how about you give us our thoughts on Superman, and let us know what else you've been checking out.
Yeah, so I went to see Superman yesterday as well. And first of all, I haven't seen a theater that packed in a very long time. Yeah. Since COVID, like pre-COVID days, it wasn't like that. Like almost every seat was filled, and the crowd at the showing that I was at was very like emotive. There's a lot of clapping and like laughing, and everyone seemed to be having a really good time, and then everyone seemed to have loved it. I thought it was pretty decent, but I'm a crusty like Zack Snyder fan.
No, oh my God.
I'm so apprehensive of seeing this because I love Man of Steel. And
you guys suck.
And
you guys suck. Those movies are so bad.
Man of Steel, the rest of them are give or take. Man of Steel, I saw like 5 times in the theater.
So
and
good.
also, I mean, Superman. Like, I have a giant Superman tattoo. He's like one of my favorite superheroes, and Guy Gardner, also my favorite Green Lantern. So I'm like very nervous about going to see it. That's why I haven't saw it yet.
You should be nervous.
Henry Cavill is just such a good Superman.
Yes, he is.
He's so boring. All he is buff. That's it.
Perfect.
He's just buff. He's just like roided out to the absolute fucking
nerdy.
max. That's all he is.
Yeah, I'm a crusty Zack Snyder fan, so I tried to keep an open mind. I did think it was like very much a Marvelization of Superman, which is fine, and people tend to like that. It's just not my favorite rendition of Superman, which is also Man of Steel. So it was good. I also left feeling pretty positive about it. Hopefully the movies to come are also received positively, because even if it's not my cup of tea, I like to see DC kind of thrive. So even if it's not for me, I'm happy about it. And also the political issues. I thought that was like a very nice touch in the fact that I needed something to be kind of grim because it was like really goofy.
I think just using that specific political issue and not covering it to like any degree and oversimplifying it was just a little bit tough for me, especially considering how thinly veiled it was, in my opinion. But yeah, I mean, maybe your mileage may vary there.
I think maybe it's because I also live in America, so it's nice to see like the issue being brought up in that way instead of being like shut down, which is like scary. So it made me happy to see a little bit of like resistance there, something.
Yeah, it's just so far in the background. It's like probably the C or D plot, and for just obviously such a huge hot button topic nowadays that it just felt weird to kind of throw it out there, where it is kind of like an aspect to why in the beginning of the movie why certain people aren't on board with Superman, and then it just kind of doesn't even rear its head again until the third act. It was just something for me where I was like, I don't even know if I really wanted that sort of thing in my Superman movie, just because you need like a more deft hand to kind of deal with this topic, I guess. But I guess at least it was something that people could relate to, or it's kind of cathartic in a certain way. Like obviously seeing this sort of person stand up for, people that need standing up for. But it was the sort of thing that, yeah, it was just very, very on the nose. Like having like a 10-minute like war room discussion on Israel and Palestine with Lex Luthor, as like an arms dealer was not exactly what I was expecting when I was going into the movie as all.
Yeah. I do think it was quite long as well, as all superhero movies tend to be. But another thing, I love Nicholas Hoult, and I know when he is like in his British form, he is the coldest like person ever. And I feel like he could have been a meaner Lex Luthor. So I just wanted him to be like British, I guess.
Who is your favorite character in the movie? Like, because obviously, once again, there's, a rogues gallery almost. There's like probably half a dozen heroes in this movie.
I would say it's between Lois and Superman. I think they both, like you said, they did have good chemistry. I really did like this rendition of Lois Lane. She kind of reminded me of like Zooey Deschanel a little bit. I like kind of got those vibes from her, like a
I
little
can
bit
see
quirky.
that,
Yeah, and I like that. And I also liked the actors who played the mom and dad, John and Martha. It was a very different rendition of John and Martha. I wasn't quite sure at first because, I don't know, it's like more Southern, more like kind of like sweet. But I think it worked. And I liked at the end where they play like the...
Spoilers.
Oh, sorry.
Spoilers.
Sorry. Like the pictures. That's all I'll say. I thought that was cute, but yeah, I'm still talking about this.
I was going to say too, yet I know you had a couple issues with it because I think I saw on social media you were retweeting Dean Cain and stuff and saying that you weren't happy about its stance on immigration.
Oh my God, no. That was another like political issue about it as well, as like calling Superman an alien.
They did that in the last one though as well.
He's always been
in Batman v
alien.
Superman. Yeah, that's always there. I don't think there were some like people that were kind of framing the whole movie as an immigrant story, and I don't think it's quite as explicit as like some grifters online were making it.
Okay.
Sure, I guess it's quote unquote woke in the way of just like you should treat everybody with decency and respect, but. It wasn't like quite as, I don't know, it wasn't being like forced down anyone's throat, I didn't feel like.
No.
My favorite online thing has been just Dean Cain yelling about it and saying that his show like wasn't woke, and everyone's just been sending him clips from the show where they actually dealt with immigration and how you should be nice to immigrants and want them, and Dean Cain just basically denies that he remembers doing it.
But like that's like like sure, Superman saves immigrants in the movie. He saves lots of people. He saves a squirrel as well, right? Like it's just he's a Superman that is literally saving everybody. The fact that like people would kind of take out certain moments or feel like it's tokenized and kind of like have this sort of rhetoric or backlash towards it, it just seems very silly. A lot of just the weird campaigns that from a certain sect of the media that they've been running with, it just, I don't know, it didn't even track for me really. It's like you really have to be looking to get angry at it. It wasn't like Superman arriving on a boat in America, trying to find a job or something. It was the fucking Superman movie, that narrative that we've all seen, just goofier and quippier and a little bit more colorful, I guess, than recent renditions.
I just don't want to fully support it till they bring back the script for the Michael B. Jordan Superman movie. I'm all for that. Bring it back. Warner Brothers scrap.
I don't know about that one.
Yeah, it was like in development with Michael B. Jordan, because there is a black Superman, like in the comics. He's like I don't know what universe, what planet he's from or whatever. And then when Warner Brothers got bought out, the same reason they scrapped Batgirl, the new owner of Warner Brothers, said it was too woke, and they scrapped it.
Well, I'm super woke. My favorite character in the movie was the one black superhero, Mr. Terrific.
Mr. Terrific.
Oh my God.
Yeah, he was so good.
Who plays him?
I'm not sure his name. He's in the X-Men movies as he's like the one guy that he can change to kind of survive. Is it like Darwin or something? He dunks his head underwater. He grows gills and shit. I don't know the actor's name, but there's a section of the movie where it's kind of like him and Lois Lane are almost on like a little adventure for probably 10 minutes. And that was one of my favorite parts of the movie. So.
Mr. Terrific's badass in the comics. Like, he's a great character. Anyway, sorry. I feel like we've just been talking about... This is the Superman episode, by the way.
What else have you been watching, Jill, other than Superman, which you thought was all right?
Other than Superman. I saw The Return of the Living Dead from 1985 for the first time.
Good zag from politics to titties.
Yes, dead things and titties. These are all my favorite things. I thought it was friggin' hilarious.
You've never seen it?
No, this is my first time seeing it. Yeah.
That's wild.
I know. I think it's on Pluto for free. That or Tubi.
I feel like it, yeah, it's usually on a bunch of the free ones.
Yeah, I thought all the characters were great. I thought it was, I don't know if Colton would like it because it's very campy. I don't know. I liked where it was going. I thought the effects were fantastic also, like all the practical effects. And I love the character Trash.
Yeah, oh yeah.
She's fantastic. And I love all the like stupid like punk rock talk that's going on.
The soundtrack's awesome.
Yes. So yeah, that was super fun. I really like that. I also rewatched Silent Hill from 2006 for my pick on Straight Jacket Talk.
Were you here when we did that one a couple of years ago, Jill?
Nope, I was not.
No,
I don't
okay.
think. And that's kind of why I chose it, because I wanted to talk about it, because it's like one of my favorite kind of staples from the early 2000s. I've never played the games. And that's because I'm scared to play them because I know they're really scary.
The second remake was terrifying, I just have to say.
Oh, God. And there's another one coming out.
There is, yeah.
Yeah, so we shall see how they do with that. I don't know. I've always liked the Silent Hill movies, even the second one. I know it's not well liked, but I'm kind of here for it.
I feel like we were like, we thought it was pretty okay when we reviewed them.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, I thought, I feel like all of us thought it was like kind of underrated.
Yeah, I really liked it.
If I recall. I know I did. I feel like even Colton was like kind of positive on it.
That's crazy.
The original Silent Hill? Yeah, I believe so.
The second one.
Oh, the second one, I don't know, but the second one.
We didn't do the second
I thought.
one.
Oh, you're talking about the first one, Rowan?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Okay. Yeah, I really like it. I like the monsters. Pyramid Head, of course, and the nurses are super iconic, and it was nice.
Neither make any sense in the movie technically for what they
the
are, but that's all right.
Lore, yeah. I know, but I don't care.
Yeah, they are great designs for sure.
Yeah. And I was watching this like behind the scenes documentary about the choreographer who also plays Pyramid Head and plays like the janitor monster. So he's like a dancer, and I saw he actually worked on It Chapter 2, Rowan. His name is Roberto Campanella or something like that. But he like choreographs movement in a lot of horror movies. I think The Shape of Water also. And he like choreographed like the nurses and like, I don't know. I think what he does is really cool because it creates this really scary like movement that's unsettling, and that's like my favorite part about Silent Hill. And I also watched Fighting with My Family from 2019 with Florence Pugh and Lena Headey. They both did a really good job in this movie. It's based off of Saraya, the wrestler. I think I was reading her book last
I was
time
going to
we
say,
recorded. Yeah, I finished her book, and then I decided to go watch the movie that was made about her family. They're like a wrestling family from the UK. And that was decent. It wasn't great, but because after reading her book goes into a lot more detail, and this is just kind of like a sports movie, like kind of generic with her family kind of involved. So that was okay. And then the last thing I checked out, I read this book, Things Have Gotten Worse.
Oh, yeah.
Since we last spoke, by Eric LaRocca. And this actually has 3 short stories in it.
So
all
proud.
3 are really good. Thank you. Yeah, Rowan has been trying to get me to read this author for a while. So I figured I'd take it out, and I really liked it. And I have like all of his other books in my cart right now to buy. Just like spooky stories. The first one is a queer story between 2 lesbians who like message each other on this like kind of Craigslist posting, and it becomes really weird really quickly. And yeah, I don't know if you're into like horror, and especially like just like weird, like weird stuff. But also, Rowan, you said it was like kind of emo.
Yeah, so
when you described it.
when I'd seen people talk about it, I think they were mostly talking about the first story, but they were saying like it really gave off like 2000s emo girl vibes.
Yeah,
and I would agree with that.
I also agree. There's a couple of lines in there I really like, just like talking about existence and like, you know, intertwining like deep emotions and like feelings. I don't know. That's what makes it weird. That's what I like about it. But yeah, that's what I've been up to. Rowan, what have you been up to?
Yeah, I feel like I've kind of been slacking. One, just because I think the listeners will think this is a funny story. My self-esteem was hit a little bit, went down a little bit this week. You know, you brought up It Chapter 2. So when I lived in Toronto, I've talked about before, I used to do like background acting. I haven't paid dues or anything in like years, like 5 years. But I randomly got an email from the company I worked for, even though I don't pay them anymore, and said that they looked through and thought I would be perfect for the role of a patron of a strip club in the new season of Interview with the Vampire.
Fuck
and,
yes.
Wow.
Sadly, I'm not in Toronto, but I was glad that I looked greasy and dirty enough that I'd be a daytime patron at a strip club. So
yes, you are.
Sad that I'm missing out on that.
I can see it.
On that, yeah.
Your acting career is taken off.
That could have been the role that just really, really set me up. So there's a lot, I'll list off, there's a lot of stuff I watched that obviously I'm not going to talk about because it's like horror stuff and I don't talk about it. But like Colton said, Jurassic Park Rebirth, saw that. You can hear our thoughts on it. To get ready for that, I watched Jurassic Park 3, Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. I skipped Dominion. I just didn't have a chance to see Dominion. So it was time for me to go to Rebirth. So I didn't see those. I went and re-saw Megan 2.0 just because I took my daughter to it. She wanted to go see it. We also we did a double feature that day. We did that, and then we went to the premiere of Jurassic World Rebirth. It was her first Jurassic Park movie.
Ooh.
And she was scared to death. She thought it was like the scariest movie she's ever seen. Just covering her eyes for a lot of it.
What did she think of
Way
Megan?
scarier than Scream.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. She said way scarier than Scream. And then I also watched Cobweb from 2023, and I watched Synchronic by. How did I not realize that those guys just direct like Daredevil now and stuff? Like they're just basically Marvel directors now.
Moon Knight, I think, was what they started with.
Yeah.
They're kind of dipping their toe in the Marvel, and then, Daredevil.
Good for them, man.
Moorhead and Benson. Yeah.
Yeah. You know what? I'm all about them getting some money because I love all their movies. So then stuff I can actually talk about. So I feel like with everyone else, you know, I watched the new Trainwreck, the Poop Cruise documentary. I thought it was, it's 45 minutes.
Big watch.
It was pretty funny. Just like a lot of like wealthy white people complaining about like a couple days of discomfort that ultimately was settled and they went on their merry ways. And I just enjoyed they were all complaining, but it was also like, and the cruise was just giving us all free drinks all day long, and it's like the horror that you had to go through. Some of us are just eating burritos and shitting, so.
No comment.
Then when I was at work, a guy I worked with, he had never seen Fargo. So I rewatched Fargo. I hadn't seen it in like years and years. Not the TV show, the movie.
Wait, we don't hate the Fargo. I was going to say, we don't hate the Fargo TV show, right? At least the first few seasons.
Yeah, oh yeah, super fantastic. It's always good. I mean, what am I going to say that 8 million people haven't said about Fargo? Just awesome. It was just cool to see it with someone that has never seen that before. And I think they were telling me like they have just never seen a Coen Brothers movie. And I was like, well, you know what? Like I'd start with the good stuff first anyway. So yeah, they really enjoyed it. Then one that I didn't enjoy, I watched Love Hurts, and ouch.
So bad. It's awful.
This got like Steven Seagal ratings from me, like not good Steven Seagal where it's funny. It's just like, it's just super bad. I just feel bad because like I get like a lot of people were pumped up about that guy getting like a leading role, and we're we're doing the John Wick Nobody ripoff that everybody is doing, but like, I just don't see it. Like, I like, what's his name?
Ke Kwan.
Kwan. Like, he's very personable, but like, I just don't really see leading man for him, especially in like this type of thing. And it was just like all these movies are bizarre. I'm like, you look like, you know, his romantic interest in it. I'm like, you look like 30 to 40 years older than this girl.
Yeah, Ariana DeBose, right? Is his romantic interest in it. Yeah, and it's crazy because this movie, they both won Oscars within the past 2 or 3 years, and then they're in this absolute
it's so
terrible
bad
movie.
And I mean, you know, it's got like Marshawn Lynch, the football player. That's like how serious this movie is, and he's like a main role. It's just, it wasn't good. I didn't enjoy it at all. Did a rewatch of Killing Them Softly. I'd seen it when it came out, but I couldn't remember anything about it, so.
I've never seen it, but seeing your review and your rating, it made me search it up a little bit. I think I need to check it out.
Yeah, big fan. Obviously, you know, years ago, we talked about my 80-page scathing rant about Blonde, the Marilyn Monroe movie that he also directed. This is far better. I feel like this was like one of the first Brad Pitt Plan B movies, or it was like around that time. This was the first time I was aware of like Brad Pitt like buying a script in like his company. And I really like this. It's like, it's not, I was gonna say it's like Goodfellas. It's not like good. It's like Goodfellas if Goodfellas was like super emo and just about like depressed men like in their emotions, like crying and depressed. It's really interesting. I've never seen like this kind of like mob flick like it. Obviously, like, you know, like James Gandolfini, Ray Liotta, Ben Mendelsohn, who's like, to me, the star of this movie. He's so sweaty in this. He's so sweaty. He plays like a heroin addict, and he's just dripping wet the entire movie. I'm such a big Ben Mendelsohn fan that, yeah, I love it. If you haven't seen it, go see it. I did a rewatch. Obviously, I promoted the last episode. TerraVision did a screening of Dracula, the one from 1931. So we went there. People won prizes. It was cool to see it on the big screen, and actually like a lot of teenagers there. Like there was a lot of people that I didn't recognize from other showings and stuff, and I kind of thought that was going to be a lot of old people, to be honest, and it was surprising. A lot of teenagers getting their Dracula on. When we reviewed it, I mean, this is one that I think slaps pretty hard. It's so short and to the point, and like it's just, yeah, it was cool to see up on the big screen. Then I went last night and I took the kid, and Auxilia came with me, and we went and saw the kid's first Wes Anderson movie. My local independent cinema did a showing of Moonrise Kingdom, which I was actually it was the first time I've been to the one independent theater here since I moved back 5 years ago, and I was kind of surprised. I thought there might be like 10, 20 people. It was pretty packed. So obviously people in Wolfville just loving them some Wes Anderson, and this was great. The kid was far more interested than I thought she would be in it. We were kind of losing her at the end, but you know what? Like, Wes Anderson isn't really for 10-year-olds, but I'm just trying to inject like something artful into her.
What would be your favorite Wes Anderson movie, Rowan? I don't think we've ever discussed them.
It's easy. Mine's Royal Tenenbaums. It was the first one I ever saw. I rewatch it all the time. I absolutely love Royal Tenenbaums. But I'm like generally a Wes Anderson fan. Like I like most of them. I also really like Grand Budapest Hotel.
Yeah, I'm probably split between Grand Budapest or Rushmore. I like both of those.
Oh, that's shit. Rushmore, yeah, that's a hard one. I really like Rushmore, but Royal Tenenbaums, I think just for the place it has, nostalgic, where it was the first one I watched. That was actually the first or second Criterion DVD I ever owned. I owned that. And I still own it, and I still have it in the case and everything. I have the Beastie Boys music video anthology they put out That might have been my first one. Yeah, I think I bought mine at a CD Plus when they were around.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
Yeah, I believe that's where I did it. And then the last thing I watched was The Goonies for the first time. And not a fan. Not a fan.
Really?
Yeah, I know. Sacrilege.
I'm actually shocked that you don't like it. It seems like something you would like.
Yeah, I thought so too. And it's got Corey Feldman, and I have discussed my fascination with Corey Feldman before. I like the second half of the movie. I like once they get into like the subterranean and it's like the pirate ship, and I can get that part. The first hour of this, I almost shut it off. It's just like 10 kids screaming over each other and talking over. Like, I didn't understand what was going on because I couldn't hear anyone because all the kids are talking over one another. And I get it's supposed to be like chaotic and kids and like, I guess a real life, this is what would happen if you're listening to a bunch of little kids. But I was just getting a headache. And I was like, this is, Colton talks about this a lot because we're all old and Colton likes to pretend that he's way younger. But this is the nostalgia thing, right? Like, I feel people love this movie because they saw it when they were a kid. And I'm sure it slaps when you're a kid. But, I'm like a 37-year-old man, 38-year-old man.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta ask now, because last episode we did The Hills Have Eyes, and I kept calling one of the mutants Sloth.
We knew
you know who I was talking about?
100%.
Did you have to go watch the Goonies, and you were like, oh, that's who Colton was talking about.
Like everyone, I understood the Sloth reference. I've seen Sloth before. I didn't know a guy at work was telling me that guy that plays Sloth was a professional NFL player. It's like a guy that won like multiple Super Bowls, and then he tried to get into acting. Wow. He doesn't look like that. Obviously, that was makeup.
No shit.
It would be more impressive. But yeah, so that's literally all I've been watching. I'll tell you why. Because all weekend I was like, you know what? I should watch some more movies. And I've just been, I bought, when was it? Like 2 years ago I talked about it. I bought Jedi Fallen Order or whatever. Jedi Knight Fallen Order. And I finally was like, you know what? I'm going to sit down and I'm actually going to play it. And I've been playing it for like 3 nights in a row now of just like, 8-hour sessions grinding. So I'm gaming it, guys.
Solid game. The sequel is even better. So.
Okay, yeah. Well, then I'll get to the sequel. I'm enjoying myself, so we'll see. I enjoy myself so much. I even had the thought last night where I was like, should I try to watch all the Star Wars stuff in chronological order? It probably won't happen.
Probably not.
Yeah,
no.
Probably not. But I thought about it, so maybe the game's working. With that, let's get into our episode. This was a Colton pick, so Colton, why don't you introduce it and tell us why you chose it?
Yeah, why did I pick Gothika? This is a movie that I remember when I was growing up, it was always in the video stores, like obviously the poster, but also I remember my mom telling me that it was incredibly scary. So this was one when I was at a friend's house, because obviously I would never be able to watch something like this in my house. Like, this is like firmly sleeping over at a friend's house sort of movie. You rent it where the parents kind of don't check out what you're renting from the video store. So I remember I picked this ages ago, like obviously when it first came out as a rental, and I thought it was absolutely terrifying. So I was like, well, let's rewatch it in modern days with a modern lens. I remembered nothing about the movie other than it was some sort of demonic possession sort of movie. I remembered a jump scare in a swimming pool. That was the only thing I remembered. When I turned it on and realized what it was about, I was like, I may have made a mistake in choosing this sort of movie. It definitely wasn't kind of like the fun, bad movie I was expecting it to be. But yeah, no, it was just sort of, it was on my list to discuss at some point, and I think just where we've been kind of checking out some like mid-2000s sorts of movies, this just kind of, bubbled to the surface.
Well, with that, let's get into the trailer, and we'll be back with the synopsis and first experiences.
Are you okay? Have I been in here?
3 days.
This is a girl that I saw.
She died 4 years ago.
Are you scared? No. You should be.
Gothika. Look for it on DVD and video.
Gothika was directed by Matthew Kasovitz and written by Sebastian Gutierrez, and the story is as follows. After a car crash, criminal psychologist Dr. Miranda Gray regains consciousness only to find that she's a patient in the same mental institution that she currently works in. She's been accused of murdering her husband, Dr. Douglas Gray, but has no memory of committing the crime. As she tries to regain her memory and convince her coworkers of her innocence, a vengeful spirit uses her as a pawn, which further convinces everyone of her guilt.
So, first experiences. Is this our first time seeing it? Or did we, purchase it from the video store? Maybe ask them for the poster. I don't know. I could see Colton having a little Halle Berry up on his ceiling so he can look at it while he's laying down sleeping, we'll call it. Is this our first time seeing it? Let's start with you, Jill.
Yeah, so I remember when this movie came out, I remember being kind of, I don't know, interested because of the title and of like the blue kind of filter in the trailer that is like in the whole of the movie. It kind of had that like really cool like early 2000s like supernatural thriller thing going on. And I remember in the trailer like the writing on like the steamy window or whatever, but I didn't really know what the movie was about. So I remember being at like the convenience store getting ready to rent a movie, and I think it was between this and Underworld. And Underworld had Kate Beckinsale on the cover in like latex, so obviously I chose that, and never got around to watching Gothika.
Formative experience. Yeah.
Absolutely. It all comes full circle, man. But yep, so this has always been one that I didn't really have a reason to put on because I wasn't sure what it was about, wasn't sure if I like, if it was one that I wanted to watch at this point so many years later. But yeah, have you seen it before?
I mean, my letterbox, apparently at some point I said I saw it. Watching this, I don't remember anything from this, so I'm not sure if I actually saw this or if those posters and video boxes just imprinted on me. I'm kind of feeling that way because I was like, I had no idea who was in it. Like, I didn't know any plot, nothing. Even after watching it, I was like, I don't remember ever seeing this. But, like everyone was saying, like, I remember this in the video stores, all that kind of stuff. I thought it was really funny because when I was looking for a copy to watch this weekend, all I thought about is every time I'm in Value Village, every time I'm in like the used video, the comic book store, like I see this on DVD 800 times, on VHS 8 million times. All this weekend. Could not find it anywhere I went. I was like, I see this every day when I'm in somewhere, and all of a sudden they're gone. So maybe, maybe the DVD or the VHS, it's my specter, it's my ghost, that it's just showing up and I'm the only one that sees it.
Could be.
So I was telling the listeners, I was telling these guys beforehand, but I just went and I rented it on YouTube, and so I'm going to say this is my first time seeing this. Was there anything else you wanted to include, Colton, in your first time, or?
No, that's basically it. It was the sort of thing I watched it as a kid. It frightened the shit out of me and my friends over at a sleepover party because I was raised in a home, and my mom still very much believes in demonic possession. I grew up in kind of a Pentecostal church where speaking in tongues was regular. A lot of these more, I guess, extreme or evangelical aspects of Christianity were like ever present in my life. So seeing something like this, especially at the young age that I saw it at, was definitely very frightening because it was like, well, God, this could happen to anybody. So, but yeah, no, I've only seen it once and rewatched it. And if I knew, like, as I already said, if I knew that it was going to be like another Colton pick that, is just more or less torturing women, I probably would have changed the pick, especially after the last thing we discussed on the podcast. But I truly didn't remember anything that it was about other than I was like, oh, I'm pretty sure Halle Berry is possessed and she gets frightened in a swimming pool. That's all I remembered.
So with that, let's have our own personal specters open the gates on this one and discuss Gothika, which I want to have the first note because my first note, I didn't even make it to the movie yet. I only made it to where we get like the production logos. And I was just like, I wrote, no, this is going to be a banner from that Dark Castle opening logo. I was just like, what a banner. Like, that logo of the gargoyle, just like, they don't make them like that anymore. Also, Dark Castle just fulfilling everybody for the 2000s. Like, I went through, I was like, why does that name sound so familiar? And then I'm looking at like all the movies Dark Castle put out in the 2000s. House of Wax, 13 Ghosts, Ghost Ship.
Okay.
Not only did these guys obviously have the 2000s locked down, I think they had a patent on the like bluish filter. I think if you use it, you had to pay them. A lot of notes I had were about kind of like the aesthetic, the mood of it. Because I was thinking about, like we said, like we did The Hills Have Eyes last episode, and, we were talking about the meanness and like the real 2000s of that. And then I was like, this is like real 2000s, like for other reasons of just like that color palette and like the lighting. The lighting's just like everything's flickering all the time. Always lightning. There's so much rain. Rain everywhere. This is like the rainiest place on Earth, apparently.
I was going to say, we pretty much, some of us live in the rainiest place on Earth. But when I was watching this movie, just as someone who works on sets, it was just, it feels expensive. Like, I don't know why. I guess it's just the amount of rain or just some of the lighting effects or some of the camera work. I was surprised with how, if this was made nowadays, it would feel very cheap and shitty. In some aspects it does, but just stylistically, at least it had a style.
Yeah.
And a lot of movies from this era do have a very distinct style that you can tell. We've discussed it many times on the show, like in this mid 2000s sort of style, and this has a lot of it as well. But I was kind of impressed with, I was like, okay, there's some competent stuff in here. It's not all bad, that's for sure.
Shot in Quebec. This is like a actual mental facility in Quebec that shut down now.
Yeah,
but
it has to be, absolutely.
Yeah.
When the movie was opening, I was actually super impressed with Penelope Cruz right off the bat, where it's kind of just a long shot of her kind of, saying, that the devil is coming to her and, filling her with fire and all this sort of thing, where it was like, okay, I didn't know exactly what this movie was going to be about, and she very much brings you into the world of what's happening at this facility right away. Very, very captivating performance to start the movie off with.
I feel like she was so underutilized in this. Like, I thought she gave the best performance in the movie, and it's just wild because she's definitely in this for like 6 minutes at most. And I'm just like, I kind of want to spend time with her more so than Halle Berry. Maybe that's my personal opinions on Halle Berry. I feel like mixed emotions. I'm not like a huge Halle Berry guy. Just because I feel like I've never watched anything that I'm like, oh yeah, like I don't hate her. I think she's like decent and everything, but it's just like, I'm just not a big Halle Berry guy.
Yeah.
I feel her performances are usually all the same to me. She kind of generally just gives like this like straight faced, like serious performance that, I don't know. I feel like in this setting, I want you to get crazy. I want you to get wild. Like, I want you to go Penelope Cruz in this.
Mm-hmm. I thought Halle Berry was perfectly like mediocre, kind of like you said, as in everything she's in, and Penelope Cruz kind of outshined her. But there's also a link from our last episode to this episode. I'm doing mental gymnastics. Hills Have Eyes, directed by Alexander Aja, who did Never Let Go kind of recently. That also starred Halle Berry, so her in another horror movie. I kind of felt the same way. Like, she was good, but like it didn't. She needs to go more crazy.
She got outshone by the kids in Never Let Go, for sure. Like,
yes,
they were much better than her.
Also that, but and her shrieking was awful too, so I didn't like that.
The cast in this is like wild, though. I didn't realize I had no idea Robert Downey Jr. was in this. And obviously, this was like low point Robert Downey Jr.
He's high out of his gourd. The entire I think he's actually fine in the movie, but he's just doing the Robert Downey Jr. thing that we've seen him do dozens of times. But he's like high out of his gourd the entire movie. You could just tell, like, when you're looking at him, like, it's like, okay, he's not really here. you know.
But there's 3 people in this that I don't know if Colton subconsciously just knew he was going to win me over with this. But Charles S. Dutton, obviously, King, Alien 3, just dominates Alien 3. So I'm pumped to see him. We can get into the questionable relationship going on here on the job. John Carroll Lynch, who obviously a favorite of mine from The Invitation. I love John Carroll Lynch. And the third person, Bernard Hill. Of course, the captain from Titanic. And I'm a big Titanic guy, so...
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I think out of those 3 that you mentioned, John Carroll Lynch is that, like, perfect actor that shows up as a supporting actor in all these different movies or TV series, and he usually only has a couple of scenes, but when he's in there, he absolutely kills it.
He's so good.
I remember him from True Detective, I think, was where he's just, you know, he's in like one episode and then one episode near the end, spoilers, but he's absolutely excellent in that series. And then I think some people, is he in Mindhunter? I feel like...
I can't remember. I know he's in Zodiac.
Oh, it's Zodiac.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking of. Yeah. Where it's just like, once again, he kind of shows up just for these very unnerving scenes and leaves. This is a little bit more of a meaty role for him, and it was like pretty obvious that I thought what was going on in this movie basically right off the bat. But, you know, I was happy to see some more of him, even if he is a complete scumbag in this movie, to say the least.
He plays a fantastic scumbag. I gotta say, before we really get into it, just because I think it's funny. So Exilia's been on this big kick of she's just been like playing around with ChatGPT a lot, just testing AI out. So, you know, I'm always like, ChatGPT, it's like super stupid. And she's like, try it. So, of course, I was like preparing stuff for Gothika. So I said, ask ChatGPT what it thinks of Gothika from 2003. And this one's for Mike. This was exactly what ChatGPT told me. It just told me Halle Berry's wet, tousled hair is basically a co-star of Gothika 2003. I was just very curious about it because I was like, is Mike working for ChatGPT now? And it's actually just Mike typing your responses back. Anyway, Colton, this one kind of was in my wheelhouse because I've said many times I work. You know, they're no longer called mental facilities like this, but I work in a facility that this would have been, you know, back in the day. This is what it would have been like. It's obviously not like that anymore. But so always appreciative of that because I find these ones, you know, I'm always just watching like, oh yeah, that happens. Oh yeah, that doesn't happen. And I just want to say the head nurse, Irene, I was like, I know so many Irenes at work that like at first look are like these like older, like sweet ladies. And then when you talk to them, you're just like, this bitch is psycho. Like they, you know, they're just like, I'm going to fuck all these guys up. And I like, there's so many of these people I've met in my job. They exist. I will say you can't really like slam people like they're doing in this one, just shoving them. You're basically looking to get fired or a lawsuit if you do that anymore. But back in the day, you know, I've heard the horror stories. This seemed pretty tame for what it used to be like, where you definitely were able to be pretty physical with these kind of people. When Penelope Cruz attacks her in the beginning, I thought it was kind of funny because they drag her out and then she kind of leaves. And then I'm like, why would you be going down the same corridor that they're dragging the person that just tried to attack you out so that you have to walk in the exact same hallway? It just seems like an accident waiting to happen there.
There were a lot of things that didn't make sense.
What? Come on.
First of all, I know, but why would she be a patient at the hospital she works at?
Jill,
you know,
logic is overrated.
Secondly, there's one point where she's like sleeping and they just have all the needles like next to her on this table while she's out in this room alone. I'm like, they would never leave this stuff behind. But anyways, I digress.
They explain that, don't they, though, about her going to the hospital? Because I thought there's a conversation with Robert Downey Jr. where he says they basically like argued for her to come there because they
had
like
the best people,
the best people, and I kind of took it that the head boss there, Phil, like I kind of took it maybe because he has the speech at some point about how like, oh, like you're our family, like we're your family, like we want the best for you. So I was like, oh, maybe that was the case. Although I do agree, like I feel like that probably there's definitely like a conflict of interest happening there.
That's inappropriate as fuck.
But see, it's funny because you talk about, and I figured mostly all of us were going to be like, oh, there's so much stuff here that doesn't make any sense. Maybe I'm the only one. I just didn't care. I'm not going to lie. Like I had a pretty good time watching this. Like, I was expecting complete dog shit. I thought even the stuff that didn't make sense, even in the beginning, like there was so much stuff where, you know, I was like, is it Rachel? Is the daughter that died?
Yeah.
When she like sees Rachel and then, you know, gets possessed or whatever, like I was so confused because then I'm like, okay, now she's like immediately in front of her house. Because I was like, well, why wouldn't she go this way all the time if her house is just at the end of the bridge? And of course, later on, they explain that. But yeah, I mean, like that didn't make a lot of sense. I mean, a lot of this doesn't make any sense. But I also took it as kind of the unreliable narrator type thing where I was questioning. I was like, okay, well, the stuff I'm seeing in the beginning, is this real? Because I don't know if you guys had it, but at some point I kind of thought, oh, wait a second, maybe like she doesn't even work here. Maybe she's just a patient.
Yeah, and I think the movie is trying to do that.
Yeah.
Just, you know, make her unreliable the entire time. There's so many times where they're talking to her and they just leave the doors open and she runs away, or, you know, she gets halfway out of the facility, or she gets out of the room, or yeah, when I was watching it, it was just a lot of it didn't track for me really.
All
either.
of these people would be fired. Like none of these people are competent at their jobs.
Did any of the jump scares in this movie get you guys even like at the slightest? I feel like there's probably about 20 of them. And they always do the exact same scare of where they just cut to like kind of a screaming woman directly in the middle of the frame. What do you guys think of that?
One of them got me.
Oh, that's embarrassing, Rowan.
When she's in solitary and she looks under the door or whatever, and then it's obviously behind her, I jumped at that one. I was embarrassed. I knew it was coming too, and I was just like, you got me. You got me. But I was, I mean, I like Mike though. I was kind of settled in. I was on the vibes. I'm like, this is so 2000s. It's moody. Even though I know that the movie thinks it's like really smart and like with these twists, but it's not. I was still buying into the twist. I was trying to like lose myself in it. Not overthink it. And when I don't overthink it, I thought it kind of worked because there was a lot of like, I was questioning everything. I was like, you know, Pete, I was like, is Pete good? Is he bad? He kind of seems like a dick. So I feel like he's orchestrating a bunch of this, which like obviously he's kind of the big red herring, I feel, in this movie. Like they kind of set it up. So I really did think for a lot of it, I'm like, oh, okay, like, she didn't want, you know, she wasn't willing to cheat with Pete, so he's like set up this thing and, you know, killed Douglas. Although to me, the biggest stretch is like, I don't know, Halle Berry and Charles S. Dutton together.
She could do better.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the chemistry wasn't there. It's got nothing to do with that. Also,
that kiss, bleh.
Highly inappropriate. Like, just, you shouldn't be banging your boss. Although, I am going to tell you, as someone that works in one of these facilities, this is everyday occurrence. This is...
Oh, no.
I always question. I always say that I don't know if it's every facility, but I'm like, you know, the one I work at, I've noticed every day someone's like cheating on their spouse with someone they work with or a boss there. Like, I don't know what it is. My theory is it's like the hour stuff. It's like you work 12-hour shift work. So like most of your time is spent in these jobs, so those are just people you're around all the time. And, you know, I don't get it, but it happens. So I was like, yeah, this is just like real life. But yeah, just drinking the water, which was also with like, you know, pouring, just that whole scene where he's like hugging her from behind and look in the mirror, like, which I also didn't understand, because did that even come back? I don't think that even really...
It comes back near the end of the movie, I believe, when she's at her house and she looks in the mirror and her face distorts into all the faces of different women, kind of like this collective trauma, I believe. That's kind of the only moment I can kind of think of where it comes back.
Yeah.
The one that is very explicit and it's called back numerous times is Not Alone, of course, you know, on the poster, carved into her arm. It's I thought it was cool when it first comes up with you know, it being wrote on the glass and kind of the observation chamber. I thought that was pretty neat. I will say that like through the bandages kind of surprised me as well. I think it was just because I didn't notice that she had like a bandage on her arm or whatnot, or maybe it did just come out of nowhere. I don't know. So that one kind of surprised me as well. But after that, I was like, okay, guys.
It does have a double meaning though, which I liked about it too, right? Like it comes off really spooky in the beginning, like, oh, there's someone else here and it's haunting and whatever. And
it's the Me Too of Gothika.
It's the Me Too of Gothika. You're right.
Well, I was gonna say, you know, one of the things I kind of thought about was that it's kind of interesting that I was just like, kind of the themes of this movie, you know, I sound like Jill now, theme corner.
Oh, no.
No, but I mean, I was just like, this seems like the themes they're working with, I was like, feel like they're very, like, today, very current, like some Me Too stuff, like... Obviously, there's, like, stuff about silencing women and, you know, like, male anger and institutionalization, specifically of women. And I was just like, yeah, like, to me, I was like, you know, it wouldn't surprise me if someone made something like this, like, on A24 now.
I get what you're saying, but I also don't think it would be, like, written by men, directed by men.
Like
have so many like actual rape scenes in it if it was made nowadays. But yes, I guess thematically, or at least the subject matter that it's dealing with, we've definitely seen that sort of thing covered in movies in the last few years for sure.
Also, the fact that it has that like blue filter, and then the song at the end is the Limp Bizkit
Behind Blue Eyes
cover, Behind Blue Eyes.
Oh man,
are they trying to say like the blue filter maybe is because she's innocent the whole time, or I don't know. I'm stretching.
I just thought, I was like, you know, I've never gotten to the technicality of how our ratings work, but I'm like, do you automatically get a sleigh when you end your movie with Limp Bizkit?
I would have to look at Behind Blue Eyes lyrically, Jill, but I do think there might be something there slightly, just, you know, with like kind of not everyone believing her, you know, being viewed different. Like, what does it look like behind blue eyes? It's all blue. It sounds a little bit silly for sure, but it's probably an intentional choice.
It's there.
What did we think of that sequence where she's kind of retracing her steps of that night after the car accident, and we see that she actually did go home, and everything's kind of like playing in reverse, and the rain is rising up, and I thought that was actually a pretty decent little sequence. That's the thing where in this movie, it is pretty poorly written overall, and there is like a lot of like plot conveniences and holes, and it is kind of stupid at times. But stylistically, there is some stuff here, and I thought this was actually a pretty interesting sequence. I liked how they committed to it, how it flowed, how it culminated in kind of like that possession, you know, part. I thought that was all like very well done. I don't know if I've actually seen that sort of effect the way it was done in this quite often. Like, we have seen the reveals in movies numerous times of where the main character is like, oh my god, I actually killed my wife, or I am complicit in this crime I've been, you know, convicted of for the entire movie. But the way this was done, I just thought it was just better than what I was expecting. This sequence, I had to jot down that, you know, this sequence culminating in kind of like this girl exploding in the fire, filling her mouth, which, you know, is kind of corny, but leading up to that moment, it was very well done.
I liked the scene, and I found overall, like, you know, I'm usually one of the first ones when we review stuff, and I'm like, oh, these fucking 2000 CGI, the grab, like, I was very forgiving in all this. Like, maybe it was just because, like I said, like, I was just kind of settled into the movie and the mood, but, like, I thought overall, like, it just, a lot of it looked good to me. Like, I was like, this is passable. I've seen worse stuff, and I felt like they used it sparingly enough that I was like, all right, whatever. I did get a laugh out of kind of when the ghost of Rachel's like kind of first presenting itself in the cell, and she's breathing on her, and they do like a weird zoom in to Halle Berry's neck, and then it's obviously like a CGI neck, and you're like watching the breath travel on her hair, and that one did make me laugh a little bit. But even that, I'm like, us silly 2000s people, we just eat this up.
That was like me. I kind of started laughing at the immolation as well when it first happened, because it just seemed to come out of nowhere when like the Rachel erupted in the fire, and it just kind of ended that sequence and she woke up in the hospital. I thought that was like pretty sudden at the time, where I don't know, it probably frightened the shit out of me as a kid, but watching it nowadays I was like, oh, it's kind of cheesy in almost like an endearing way to a certain degree.
I did have a note on if all of us were gonna say that Colton's favorite scene was the pool scene, because we do they made sure that Halle Berry had a white t-shirt on and slowly came out of the pool.
You know what's crazy? I actually didn't notice that, because I was just thinking it back. Like, once again, one of my only memories of this movie is the pool, but it's from her hiding underwater and having the jump scare. And as a kid, I remember it like, completely shocking me. But when I was watching it as an adult, and now after seeing dozens, if not hundreds, of horror movies, it was just the sort of thing where it was just so obvious that it was coming. But as probably my like, I don't know, third or fourth horror movie, this was terrifying.
As she was slowly coming out of the water, I just kept being like, are they gonna do this? Are they gonna do this? And then I'm like, yup, they're gonna just make sure they get the full chest shot of the braless Halle Berry with a white wet t-shirt on. I was like, God bless the 2000s. This is just what we were on, I guess.
Yeah, well, what a inspired choice, especially with what the movie's all about, or like some of those third act revelations that are just absolutely horrific.
Yet again, another reason why men should not be making your feminist horror movies. I had a note that said, Pete, real gamer. So I had the racing wheel at the desk there in his office.
Ooh.
He's Need for Speed in it all the time.
It's probably like Underground 2 era. That's huge.
I like the Hot Pursuit. I like to be the cops and chase people.
God.
Yeah.
Wow. Of course you would.
Yeah, geez.
What a lot.
What a bootlicker of me.
Get off the podcast.
Usually I'd play with my brothers, and then they would be the race cars, and then I'd tell them that I'm a dirty cop, and I'd like try to like wreck them and stuff. Tell them they gotta buy me off, all that good stuff. So I had to know, and it's funny because we don't, it's very rare that we talk about it anymore, but we're talking about this is like in the video stores all the time and all that, and we're making fun of the movie. But I was looking, I thought it was like, it's probably a good point to bring up that this made $141 million on a $40 million budget.
Okay, so it was actually an expensive movie then, like 40 million. Well, it's what they call a mid-budget movie, of course, but
I looked it up, and it said at the time, this was the most expensive movie Dark Castle had ever made. It was the first time they had like big name actors in their stuff, because they always went with kind of unknowns at the time. But I just thought that was kind of interesting, because like when you read about this, like critically panned, but like obviously people like the audience score is pretty good for it, and obviously people went to see it. It was like number 2 when the week it was released. Like the first one was number 1 was Cat in the Hat, Mike Myers. But I mean, a kids movie, all right, I get that, but I'm just saying, like, this made a shit ton of money for a movie that I feel like I generally don't hear positive things about. So people just kind of knew.
Well, once again, I picked this because I was it is basically a universally reviled movie. Like, everyone says the movie's terrible, right? So I was like, okay, I watched it as a kid, so at least there's that nostalgic value to it. And then I said, oh, it should be fun. Like, I'm sure it's just stupid, weird possession stuff. It's probably, Halle Berry, I don't know, spider walking down the stairs or something stupid. It's kind of like what I was thinking. And the movie I got was very different than what I expected. So I would actually like to see, other than obviously the logic issues or bad script, that sort of thing. I wonder, like, I would want to see a more in-depth review of the movie just to see, like, specifically what they didn't like, I guess, or what was absolutely terrible, right? Because it does, I don't know, it is the sort of movie that most people on Letterboxd have it at, you know, like a 1 star. So
you know who did like it?
Holly P.
Roger Ebert. 3 out of 4 stars.
Damn.
Wow. That's huge.
I looked, and like normally I don't care about that stuff, but like I said, when I was reading it, I was like, what? And then I thought I read it wrong, and like he basically kind of almost like what I've been saying, like me and Mike have been saying, he's kind of like, yeah, it's stupid, but like it's kind of fun, and like it's, you know, it's kind of a vibe. Roger Ebert on that vibe. Or maybe, you know, Roger Ebert just was enjoying that pool scene also, and maybe.
Has anyone here seen the Sasquatch movie Willow Creek by any chance?
No.
Okay. So in this movie, they keep mentioning, you don't want to go to Willow Creek, or, oh, we have the cabin up in Willow Creek. And I watched this Sasquatch movie probably back in 2015 called Willow Creek. And I remember it because it's like this found footage Sasquatch movie. And what it all winds up culminating is that the Bigfoot Sasquatches, they're out in the woods and they're stealing all the women and making them swamp wives. And maybe I'll pick it sometime, but I don't know. Whenever they brought up Willow Creek, all I could remember was swamp wives, and
you got excited.
Yeah, it took me out a little bit, and yeah, made me a little excited.
I enjoyed when I was looking around. I enjoyed the fun fact that RDJ broke Halle Berry's arm making this.
Oh, really?
In the scene where he's got to like restrain her, he did it wrong and apparently broke her arm, and they had to take an 8-week break on set for her arm to heal.
Holy shit!
So yeah, not only are the men making the feminist films, they're also injuring the women in the films while shooting it.
Yikes!
Jill, you're real quiet this episode on Gothika. I thought you were gonna have more to say on Gothika.
Not really. I don't have much to say. What did you expect? What did you think I would like about it?
I don't know. I just thought this is kind of 2000s. This is like our era of...
It is. But
I wondered, I have noticed the people I follow on Instagram and YouTube, stuff like that, like kind of a Gothika resurgence.
Okay.
Because I feel like a lot of people my age that I follow like have this nostalgia for the 2000s. Like obviously, you know, we discussed our nostalgia was for The Hills Have Eyes, but I feel like maybe if you weren't doing something crazy like The Hills Have Eyes, like maybe you were doing Gothika.
Yeah, Gothika, I don't know. I'm not really into like ghost haunting stuff. And I also didn't even know what this was about. It just kind of like slid off my radar because I loved Underworld so much and they came out like the same time. Vampires and werewolves. And Kate Beckinsale.
The only last note I have on this that I didn't talk about was I just said I really actually like the outside shots of the facility. I was like, what a cool, creepy facility.
Great location.
Yeah, like just looks fantastic.
I think we need to talk through the culmination with
the ending.
The guy having the tattoo on him and him just roaming around shirtless with a shotgun in this police station that for some reason everybody else is not here. There's nobody else here. And how it ultimately culminates in that pipe, the gas leak, setting him on fire in a terrible fashion, but also Halle Berry still getting to shoot him in the head.
Fuck yeah.
I was just kind of, she's a great shot.
I feel like you wouldn't want his chest to burn, right? Like you'd want the tattoo there so that when you're trying to prove you're not crazy, also proving Penelope Cruz's character isn't crazy, you can be like, hey, this tattoo, but I feel like he's burnt to a crisp now. That tattoo's gone, so...
I think she would kind of be fucked in real life, right? Like, everyone believes that she's the one who hacked up her husband with an axe. And then it's like, oh, and then now she killed his best friend in this brutal fashion as well, like burned him and shot him in the head, almost like an execution style. I don't know, maybe this ending is sadder than we think.
Well, to answer your question, I was bought in. I It was so 2000s, and I liked it. I liked the whole like confrontation.
In the cell is some good work between them. I do like the dialogue back and forth, and kind of, once again, we've all put these pieces together probably 40 minutes ago. But the scene at which when okay, Mike and I'm sure Jill, Mike, and I all put it together. But in that scene, I did like kind of the verbal sparring back and forth, and kind of him tiptoeing around it and hinting at it, and her building like the psychological profile of the person who would do this and kind of pushing to see if he was going to admit it. I did like it, and obviously his physical presence, like that actor, like John Carroll Lynch, he's just like a big guy, right? Like a very a large presence that would be, terrifying if you were Halle Berry stuck in, a small cell with that sort of person. So yeah, I thought that sequence in particular worked. Him running around, the police station shirtless with a shotgun, just showing off his tattoos. I'm not really sure why we needed that exactly, but we got it.
It was his Red Dragon reveal, just flexing there. I mean, I thought the ending, John Carroll Lynch just eating like all the scene. I like, and this was kind of my issue, or maybe my general issue with Halle Berry, is I'm just like, I love John Carroll Lynch, but like, he's a character actor, and I'm just like, he's just dominating over Halle Berry in this, and I'm like, you should be able, like, you're the lead, like, you kind of need to hold your own in this spot. And it's kind of a shame, because I was reading, like, I know Halle Berry, like, really was kind of into taking this role. Apparently her mom was a nurse, like, in a facility her entire life, so she like based this off of her mother, and like questioned her mother about the role and everything. And this is one of those things where I feel like I probably would have liked the movie better if it was someone else in the lead. I don't think she took away from it that much, but I just feel like maybe, I can't think of who, but if it was someone else, that I might have actually enjoyed it even more with someone else.
Going back to, she doesn't play a good crazy person. She kind of plays like a normal person the whole way. And even when you get the unreliable narrator sequences, you still know, like, she's not crazy. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but I also think the movie is constantly kind of building up how intelligent she is. And she's always like speaking about herself and what's going on in this kind of analytical manner that, you're right. She doesn't ever kind of descend into madness throughout the entire movie. We're kind of on her side the entire thing, and we believe there's some sort of cover up, whether it be conspiracy going on, right? The one thing that I also have to mention, because I don't know how this ultimate ending really makes much sense, was that a sequel bait ending? What were we doing there? Just thematically, like, where the ghosts, when they're kind of presenting themselves to Halle Berry and whatnot, it's kind of like this shared trauma amongst all these women in the facility, men not believing them, men abusing them, subjugating them, all this aspects to it that it kind of makes sense, where you have all these female ghosts kind of presenting themselves to Halle Berry throughout the movie, and then she is on the verge of becoming one of those herself the entire movie. So when there's just this random ghost kid at the end, sure, it's the idea of like, he could be missing. Obviously, there could be trauma involved with this, kid as well, and he is missing. We see it on the, the telephone pole. It didn't really like coalesce, I guess, to like make sense for what the rest of the movie was saying to me. Like the whole like not alone thematic message kind of doesn't feel like it makes sense, I guess, in the ultimate ending. Like, is she going to become a detective? Like, is it like The Sixth Sense now?
I mean, my guess is they were trying to tie it in with The Sixth Sense, and they were like, let's get these movies jointed together.
It very much feels like the next movie would be her like investigating missing children, right? And them presenting themselves to her and her solving a mystery. It was very much like sequel bait ending that I just thought was strange. We need to start a list on Letterboxd of the movies that we cover that set themselves up for a sequel, that it's like kind of like that investigative sort of thing, because Rowan and I did The Pope's Exorcist.
Well, I was going to say, should they invite Halle Berry into the sequel?
The answer is yes, but it's just, there's a lot of these movies that are like kind of bad or middling, and they always set themselves up for a sequel. They're so confident that like this is gonna like be a banger, it's gonna make money, everyone's gonna be asking for the sequel, and then it just never comes. And like Pope's Exorcist is the same thing, where it's like so clearly that they're setting up like a Pope Exorcist cinematic universe that I kind of admire it in a way, but it's also like it just, it'll probably never happen. So Pope's Exorcist 2 is there with Gothika 2.
They should have just ended the movie like with RDJ like coming to the door, say like, opening it, yeah, I see you, whatever. I mean, like we said, just I think that extra ending, it was a bad ending for Penelope Cruz too, because I'm just like, all right, like, so she got out. I didn't really get like, so she was just in this facility because no one believed she was being raped by the devil. But I'm like, I feel like that you probably need more than that to be put in a facility. So I was just like, okay, all of a sudden she's released and perfectly fine. So yeah, just justice for Penelope. Well, that's really what this is about.
Agreed.
Follow her around.
Even with her bad wig that I didn't notice. So
So are we good to go into rating this? All right, well, let's land the plane. If you're new to our podcast, our rating system is nay, okay, yay, or slay. Colton, this was your pick. What would you rate Gothika 2003?
I hate this. I didn't want to go first here because, like, honestly, I'm feeling a nay for the movie. I don't know. Fuck. I think what I'll do is I'll give it the weakest of okays. I did, while we were discussing it, I scrolled back just to see like what I rated a nay for recently, and I think I've disliked those movies more than Gothika. I'm not saying this is a good movie by no means. This is definitely like in the 2 to 2.5 range on my letterbox for sure, but I will say I didn't dislike it as much as I expected to. And I am a little bit disappointed that it was nowhere near as bad as I thought it was going to be. Like, I thought it was going to be entertainingly terrible the entire time, when realistically it's like it has major plot holes, the writing's kind of bad, and, the subject matter was far more serious than what I was expecting when I was kind of going in. I do think there's some good stylistic choices with the not alone stuff, or, God, there was another one. Oh, the rewinding effect. I thought that was excellent. Yep. It was competent enough as a psychological thriller, even though I had it figured out probably within about 30 minutes. But you know what? For like a 98-minute movie in the early 2000s, you could definitely do worse. There's a lot of these sorts of movies in that period, and this wasn't quite as bad as what I was expecting. So yeah, and Willow Creek with the the Swamp Wives and Bigfoot, and that'd probably be more up Jill's alley. But yeah, it's gonna be an okay for me. Jill, I think you hated this one. Where are you landing on it?
Oh, you think I hate it? Why does everyone think I hate it?
Just because you've talked for probably about 5 minutes the whole episode. That's all.
Okay, I guess with a name like Gothika, I kind of expect a lot more like haunting ghost stuff. And I think that's kind of limited here. And kind of like you mentioned, all of the haunting sequences are kind of like derivative, or like they're repetitive, like the same kind of thing over and over. And then it's not scary anymore because then you realize like the ghost is actually a victim. So then it starts taking it out of horror for me and into like more of the thriller kind of subgenre, which like isn't my favorite. If this were more like Crimson Peak or something like that, I think I'd probably like it more. But going into this, I also didn't have high expectations because I don't remember hearing like a lot of good things about this. So I expected it to be pretty mediocre, and that's what I'm landing on. It's okay. I don't think it's something I'll probably watch again for a while, but I think it is pretty, I don't know, it's pretty decent, and clearly it's kind of stood the test of time if people are still like remembering the name at least, or the concept, or like even the blue color from the trailers. So I think it has its spot in history in the early 2000s.
I was reviewing the Gothika Wikipedia page and I scrolled down to accolades, and at the Stinkers Bad Movie Awards, Penelope Cruz was nominated for Worst Supporting Actress and won.
That's rude as hell.
I know. So Stinkers Bad Movie Awards, I doubt you're still around, but you were definitely wrong on Gothika. Penelope Cruz is great in this movie. So
I think Halle Berry won a Teen Choice Award for it also.
Dang.
She did, yeah.
So I'm gonna give it a light yay. I actually really liked it. I had a lot of fun with it. I was kind of in the vibes. I guess I was feeling 2000s vibes when I was watching it, and like I said, I lost myself in it. I was letting it take me on its twists and turns. Even the stuff that was cheesy, I was like laughing and having a good time. And like I said, I always had seen this in the movie store, stuff like that, and assumed it was just really, really bad. And maybe that's where my yay comes from, because I thought it was so bad. And then I was like, oh, this actually isn't bad. It's got all these actors I like in it. And, you know, I just thought I had a good time with it. I had a really, really good time with it. Wait, where's the 4K? Who's putting the 4K out? Let's get that Gothika 4K out.
I wonder, was it filmed on film? Because there was like a lot of film grain on it, but that was also at the time where they were experimenting with
Fake
like the digital grain.
Yeah,
all the time. So I wonder.
Yeah, I'd be curious to find out. I mean, this guy, we didn't really say it, but like, I've never seen Lahane, but I know it's like, you know, like heralded as this like French masterpiece. So it's always interesting too when, you know, these directors are like, all right, I did my like art masterpiece that I'll be known forever for. Now it's time to be known forever for Gothika and the iconic Rain poster.
We never mentioned the writer either, Rowan.
Oh,
Snakes on a Plane.
Oh,
of
nice.
course.
Nice.
And
I've never
the movie
seen
The Eye with, I think, is it Jessica Alba?
Jessica Alba.
Where she sees
Also
ghosts
never
in her
seen
new
it.
eyes. Bangers.
Yeah, jeez. Have to pick those sometime. But yeah, I had a good time. Yay. Everyone that's on board with me, expect Facebook notifications. I will make the Facebook fan group called Gothika Girlies. Gothika just out here representing for real film, real filmmakers. Yeah, so I'll give it a yay. I had a good time with it. So 3 OKs and a yay. I spoiled the quadruple OK. I'm sorry, guys.
So, Rowan, you mentioned much earlier in the episode that you were experimenting with ChatGPT.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to make this a regular thing because fuck AI, but I was curious what it would think the It Slays podcast would rate the 2003 movie Gothika.
Oh, nice.
And it said, the It Slays team probably wouldn't slay Gothika. Their likely verdict is a nay or maybe an okay at best, praising its strong visuals, but not being able to ignore its weak storytelling, essentially.
So I like to zag on ChatGPT. Fuck you, ChatGPT.
I don't like that either.
I feel good about that.
There's enough information about us now that ChatGPT knows our rating, you know, rubric and knows kind of like what we generally like. So that's scary.
Gross.
So I'll make sure to ask ChatGPT before we start. Do you think Mike will be eating a pot of craft dinner during our episode?
Ooh, good question.
Yeah. So we told you what we thought about Gothika, and we asked what you thought, and Holly didn't fail us. No one else wrote in about it. But Holly did write, and she had stuff to say because she wrote in 4 different times just because it was a long message. So Holly had to say, it's a yay for me. Fuck yeah, Holly. Fuck yeah. Interesting to rewatch after all this time. This I found scary when I first watched it, but it's really tame. Halle Berry is such a phenomenal actor. I don't know if I can agree with that. This script is too weak for her, and Cruz needs more airtime. Gross old dudes as serial killer bros. Ew. And that really gross kiss in the opening scenes was surely a giveaway.
Yes.
I'm
It's
done.
tough.
And then she said, I'm done ranting now.
I agree, Holly.
Interesting too, right? That, you know, Alien 3, his character was a rapist and murderer.
A murderer and rapist of women. He has to keep telling us the entire movie.
What a movie. I can't wait till the end of this episode and I pick Alien 3 again and we just watch it again.
Ooh. Well, hopefully this time we'll actually watch both cuts like I did. And, you know.
Yeah, exactly. So with that, we're going to go over to the horrific hotline where Nicholas has called in and left his thoughts. So let's get into it.
Okay, I've just watched Gothika, and it just screams early 2000s horror movie.
Yep.
The opening credits alone, the font, the visuals, the editing, the entire movie is so rooted within the 2000s, which does not have to be a bad thing. There are good horror movies. However, I don't believe this is one of the better ones from that era or at all. It's not a very bad movie. It is entertaining, but for my taste, it's a bit too all over the place without really sticking to one thing. It tries to be so many things, like a ghost or some sort of possession horror. There's a serial killer plot. There is a mystery thriller element. It tries to do some psychological stuff. And overall, for the type of movie it is, it's just too much. And either it is, or it is just too much, but and on the other hand, too little of every single subgenre it tries to do. So that does not feel all that coherent. That being said, it is somewhat entertaining. It is a brief watch with just over 90 minutes. There are some, not unexpected turns, but some twists and turns that make the movie fun to watch. There are some cool actors and actresses in the movie in smaller roles, or, in the other main roles, but they only have like 3 or 4 scenes. And Halle Berry does carry the movie to some extent. I don't think she's brilliant in the movie, but I do think she does a decent job of portraying the main part of the movie. And overall, I am at a strong okay. I don't think it has enough to offer for a yay or even for a slay, but it is a fun watch, and I'm not mad that I watched it, though I'm pretty sure I will not rewatch it at any point.
Just breaking my heart.
I'm just still surprised that I picked this just unanimously as like a fun, terrible movie for us all to watch. We were all like, it was all right. I got to try harder next time.
So Nicholas did, he had a question that he forgot to say in the voicemail. He wanted to know, what are our top early 2000s horror movies? Ones that also scream 2000s.
Well, we reviewed one like 2 weeks ago for me. When I think of that era, I do think of how mean that Hills Have Eyes remake was. I would have to consult just a list. Someone else answer. I'm gonna take a look here now.
So I just popped up. So, I mean, ones that scream 2000 to me that I enjoy, 30 Days a Night. Absolutely love that movie. On the funny side, Scary Movie. I still think the first one slaps. There's so many. The Devil's Rejects, like huge Devil Rejects fan. The Strangers. I mean, there's so many. I mean, this is our bag. This is our time. Probably two that we've done on the podcast that I'll finish up with is The Descent, which I still feel like, even though it's like very critically well received, I still feel like wildly underrated. And The Ring. The Ring to me is like the ultimate 2000s.
Yeah.
Talk about blue lighting.
I was quickly consulting just the decade of the 2000s just to see what came out, and what instantly jumped to my head was Saw. The original Saw feels very early 2000s, and that was like unanimously lauded as like this horrific, incredibly gory film. Like they had the severed leg at the video store, like as soon as you're walking in, like that sort of thing. But then you actually watch the movie, and the original Saw wasn't
very
bad
tame.
at all.
I remember when we viewed it, we were like, we thought this was like brutal.
And then the other one, like just quickly glancing at like this list of movies, was it's Gore Verbinski's The Ring, the American remake. I remember watching that when it came out, and first of all, the video tape terrified me, but it does very much feel like it's from that era as well.
Also, The Grudge was up there. 13 Ghosts, we kind of mentioned earlier. Ghost Ship, Jeepers Creepers, Ginger Snaps, Silent Hill, and Resident Evil.
You like all these? Some of those were tough.
Yeah, I do like them all, actually.
Ghost Ship? Come
I love
on.
Ghost Ship. That's on my list of a pick. Yeah, come on now.
All right. We'll have to discuss sometime.
Yep, Darkness Falls.
I've never seen it, and no joke, it was on my list.
Oh, it's
last
on my
time
list
to pick.
too.
I have to mention Freddy versus
Freddy
Jason.
versus
'cause
Jason.
That was one. That was one of the very early horror movies I watched, without having seen any Nightmare on Elm Street movies or any Friday the 13th movies. And I watched it at a sleepover, and I remember I ate too much food while watching it. And after the movie ended, I threw up. And I was always like, I can never watch Freddy versus Jason. It was so scary. It made me throw up.
Kath and Isabel.
Awesome and embarrassing. So we had a comment back that I wanted to talk about too. Someone wrote a comment to something we asked after the Hills Have Eyes episode. But before I get to that, I did want to give a shout out to Kaylee Jones, who commented, said she was like a new listener, followed us on everything. She wrote,
oh, nice.
I'd sent to the group, she sent like a very long, detailed review on Altered States. And
wait, is this the Jill fan?
Yeah, I know. You can't win them all, but we'll let it pass.
Thank you.
And then I wanted to give a shout out to James Mendonca, maybe. I don't know. I'm probably butchering your name. But
boy.
You've been listening to all the episodes, so you know I'm terrible with names. But James comments on YouTube on everything, and I just wanted to let him know as he listens to this, I think is real funny because his latest comment was on Midsummer when me, Mike, and Exilia reviewed it, and I love it because James is responding to things that we talked about, and I'm going to be honest, James, I have no idea. I can't respond because it'll be stuff about like, have you ever tried coffee for that, Exilia? And like, I have no idea what it's about.
Dang.
Yeah, James like showing crazy support. But anyway, Damon Knight, who's commented a couple times on our stuff, he commented and said, in regards to whether gas stations like the one portrayed in The Hills Have Eyes,
okay,
he wants us to know they actually exist. 100% they do. He said, I found a few while traveling through New Mexico and West Texas. Every time I would stumble across one, I would immediately think, well, this is how the movie starts. I hope it ends well.
Awesome. I'm happy to hear, just because it's such an old trope that we've seen so many times, but being this far north, I've never experienced myself. And if you want to be like Nicholas and leave us a voicemail, you can do so at It Slays Podcast or at itslayspodcast@gmail.com. And if you're not following us on our socials, you can do so at It Slays Podcast. We're on Instagram, Facebook, Slasher, Letterboxd, Threads, Bluesky, TikTok. If there's a social media, we're probably there at It Slays Podcast. And if you want to help support the show financially, like our horror hounds Holly, Nicholas, Mark, Steven, Dan, Brian, Trevor, and James, gain access to the Patreon exclusive show Stream Screams, hosted by Jill, and get episodes of this here main show 48 hours early. Be sure to head on over to patreon.com/itslayspodcast and choose whatever tier works best for you. Rowan, there actually was a score I noticed in this movie. It was almost like a twinkly, terrible noise that would happen every now and then that I didn't mean to mention.
I'm probably not.
Was there anything else in this movie?
Not really. This was one of those movies that really uses silence during the jump scares. So, you know. Although you guys are gonna have to hold me. You guys are gonna have to hold me back. I might just add a whole bunch of Limp Bizkit to the playlist, and it's just gonna turn into the It Slays.
One of those days.
It's just gonna turn into the It Slays Podcast Dirtbag playlist. But yeah, you can go follow the playlist on Spotify. Look up It Slays Podcast Horrific Playlist. If you have any problems finding it, you can go to any of the social media Colton just mentioned. Go in the bio, click the Linktree link. It'll take you directly there. We upload scores or licensed music from iconic horror movies we review, or just horror movies we love. So follow it. We update it regularly, and get your spooky music on, because why the hell not? And I got one more thing I got to promo. We have another TerrorVision screening coming up that we're sponsoring, that I've got a bunch of like 8 movie collections to give away, because they are screening the very first Friday the 13th on August 6th. So I got some Friday the 13th swag to give away. Doors open at 6:30. I think the tickets are like $18. Pre-show feature presentation starts at 7:30. So be there. We'll be in the building, or I will be, and we'll be giving stuff away. So it'll be a good time. And last but not least, we have to announce the upcoming episode. It is a Rowan pick. I got to play a little game, and unfortunately, I can't let Jill or Colton participate in it. It's only Mike that's allowed to participate in it.
Wow. Okay.
So I got a question for you. I got 2 questions for you, Mike. The first question: this pick, do you know what month this pick will be released in? Do you know what rhymes with August?
No.
You're right, Mike. It's Joggist. So you know what, though? I wanted to do something fun for the whole family here. Something for all of us. It's not a Jaws.
Jaws 4, The Revenge.
Also, we had a death this year in May. He died at the ripe age of 80. His name was Morris the Alligator, and he was the star of the 1980s movie Alligator, which is my pick. So, look, I even have the lovely 4K that I'm showing all of them.
Look at that. Wow. Mike looks like he's going to be sick.
Oh, I thought it would be fun starring Robert Foster, Canadian, also passed away.
Robert Forster.
Or,
on,
what did I say?
please.
I'm talking too
Foster.
fast. Yeah. Forster of Jackie Brown fame, obviously, for me. But I thought this could be fun. And yeah, we got to, R.I.P. Morris. So, we got to commemorate him. And you know what? I'm very surprised.
We have to.
I thought Mike would be okay with this pick, that it was like a cheesy 80s, but also fitting in the Joggist theme. So yeah, Alligator, 1980.
Whose pick is it after yours, Rowan?
Mike's.
And I assume Mike is going to pick Alligator 2, The Mutation, of course, right? Just to finish out Joggist strong.
I think his pick's actually going to be Lake Placid versus Anaconda.
Oh, God.
But yeah, so get your eye holes on 1980s Alligator, and we will be back to discuss that. As always, thank you for all the support, all the comments, all the stuff. I think we're almost at 700 subs on YouTube, so we're slowly getting to that 1K. That's exciting. And as always, I am your humble host, Rowan.
I'm Colton.
Bye, it's Jill.
See you later.